to start class 10 subject SS chapter number 1 development, which is from the book Understanding Economic Development. Now in this chapter we are going to see that what actually development means. We all know its meaning, like development is progress, increasement for the betterment. The idea of development or progress has always been with us. We have aspirations or desires about what we would like to do and how we would like to do. We all have desires that what things we need and for those things what can we do. Similarly, we have ideas about what a country should be like. We have personal ideas as well as country-wise. What are the essential things that we require? Can life be better for all? How should people live together? Can there be more equality? Equality means equals, means samanta. Development involves thinking about these questions and about the ways in which we can work towards achieving these goals. So development means that how can these things can be achieved, like equality and all these types. This is a complex task, and in this chapter we shall make a beginning at understanding development. As I first said that in this chapter we are going to understand what actually development means. You will learn more about these issues in greater depth in higher classes. Also you will find answers to many of these questions, not just in economics but also in your course in history and political science. This is because the way we live today is influenced by the past. We can't desire for change without being aware of this. In the same way, it is only through a democratic political process that these hopes and possibilities can be achieved in real life. Now here we have development promises. That what are development promises with different people and with different goals. Let us try to imagine what development or progress is likely to mean. Like here we have a table that is with developmental goals of different categories of persons. First of all, we have the category landless rural laborers, and their developmental goals or aspirations, we can say that more days of work and better wages. What should a labor think about? It would think about that they can get more work and better wages, better salary for that work. Local school is able to provide quality education for the children. There is no social discrimination and they too can become leaders in the village. So these are the aspirations, these are the desires which a landless rural laborer thinks. Now second comes the prosperous farmers from Punjab. Assured a high family income through high support prices for their crops and through hardworking and cheap laborers. They should be able to settle their children abroad. Now these are the desires of the prosperous farmers, that they should get a better price for their crops and they can settle their children to abroad in foreign. Now we have a girl from a rich urban family. What can her desire be? She gets as much freedom as a brother and is able to decide what she wants to do in life. She is able to pursue her studies abroad. Now her desires are that she should be equal to his brother and she also should study abroad. Now seeing this table 1.1, do all of these persons have the same notion of developmental progress? Do every person have the same developmental goal or same progress? Most likely not. Every person differs from the another person. Each one of them seeks different things. They seek things that are most important for them. What is important for them, they will make their developmental goal. That is that which can fulfill their aspirations or desires. In fact, at times two persons or group of persons may seek things which are conflicting. Conflicting means we can say virodh. A girl expects as much freedom and opportunity as a brother, and that he also shares in the household work. Means a girl is expecting equality here, that she should be compared to her brother, and her brother should also have a share in the household work. Her brother may not like this. Similarly, to get more electricity, industrialists may want more dams, but this may submerge the land and disrupt the life of people who are displaced, such as tribals. Now you know that big industrialists make industries and they use the land for their personal use, and so they are damaging the lives of the people who are as tribals. They might resent this and may prefer small check dams or tanks to irrigate their land. So two things are quite clear. One. First is that different person can have different development goals, that every person do not have the same developmental goal. And two, what may be development for one may not be the development of other. Means my development ideas are different from the other one. It may even be destructive for the other. Destructive means it can destroy the aspirations or the desires for the other. Now we come to the income and other goals. In this we have studied that what can be different person can have different goals. Different persons can have different development goals. Can have different and second point is that our development for one differs from the another. So here these 2 points are clear, that different persons can have different development goals, and secondly development for one differs from the another. Now we come to income. Income means finance. And first of all we will see that what people desire are regular work, better wages and decent price for their crops or the products that they produce. In other words, they want more income. Now income, everyone wants. I am teaching for my income. You are studying so that you can get better salaries or better work. So income is most important. Besides seeking more income, one way or the other, people also seek things like equal treatment, freedom, security and respect of others. That means we have the points that first is income. Second can be equality, means we should be compared equal to the other person, no discrimination between us. Then there should be freedom. Then security and respect for others. We should have respect for the others. All these are important goals. In fact, in some cases, these may be more important than more income or more consumption, because material goods are not all that you need to live. Only material things are not there, just that we want to, that they are needed for life. But these also are very important, like equality, freedom, security and respect for others. Money or material things that one can buy with it is one factor on which our life depends. It is a factor, but the whole life do not depend on the material things. But the quality of our life also depends on non-material things. Non-material things means equality, freedom, security, respect. All these are the non-material things. Our life is made of material and non-material things, not only on material things. If it is not obvious to you, then just think of the role of your friends in your life. You may desire the friendship. Similarly, there are many things that are not easily measured, but they mean a lot to our lives. Now we have friends, best friends, so they are more important, and their respect, their love cannot be measured, but it means a lot to us. These are often ignored. Now many times, just because of these material things, we ignore all these types of feelings. However, it will be wrong to conclude that what cannot be measured is not important. Means it's just not like that the things which we can measure are important. The things which we cannot measure are also important too. Consider one another example. If you get a job in a far-off place, before accepting it, you would try to consider many factors apart from income, such as facilities for a family, working atmosphere, or opportunity to learn. Now here we have an example that if we get a job, we just don't think about the income. We have to think about the safety of your family, the the working atmosphere. You have to think the opportunity to learn that how much you will achieve from this job. In another case, a job may give you less pay but may offer regular employment that enhances your sense of security. Means a job will give you less wages, less salary, but it will give you a regular sense of security, means a regular employment, so that you have a good sense of security. Another job, however, may offer high pay but no job security. That does not make any sense and also leave no time for your family. So it is very important that material things means income is also necessary, but family, your job, securities, freedom, all these are also important. This will reduce your sense of security and freedom. If you are not provided by these things, then it will reduce it. Similarly, for development, people look at a mix of goals. It is true that if women are engaged in paid work, their dignity in the house and society increases. Today, in this society, we know that if a woman works, then it will degrade the society. Means औरतें काम नहीं करती. However, it is also the case that if there is respect for women, there would be more sharing of housework and a greater acceptance of women working outside. Means a woman, if she is working in the household full day, that is much more respectable than working outside. A safe and secure environment may allow more women to take up a variety of jobs or run a business. Hence, the developmental goals that people have are not only about better income but also about other important things in life. So, in this topic, we have studied that just not material things is important, but every aspect you have to see. You have to see equality, you have to see freedom, you have to see your security and respect. Now, after these two topics, we come to the topic national development. National development means the overall development of the nation. Just not thinking about our development, but also thinking about the development of the nation. Here we have a topic, national development. Thinking about the development of the nation. Now, if we have seen above, individuals seek different goals, then their notion of national development is also likely to be different. Means we have different personal goals, personal, you can say personal desires, but now with that we have persons with different national thoughts also. One person can think another from the different person. Discuss among yourselves on what India should be for development. Most likely you will find that different students in the class have given different answers to the above questions. Whenever you ask someone, they will give the definition of development for the nation very different from the other student. In fact, you might yourself think of many different answers and not be too sure of any of these. It is very important to keep in mind that different persons could have different as well as conflicting notions of a country's development. Now, as we see, we have personal development. But personal development, the sense, the notions of these personal development are also different. So, the development for the overall nation, the notions and the thinkings about these national development also differs from one person to the other. However, can all the ideas be considered equally important? Or if there are conflicts, how does one decide? What would be a fair and just path for all? We also have to think whether there is a better way of doing things. Would the idea benefit a large number of people or only a small group? Now, in this national development, you have to think that it is beneficial for all the members or for only a smaller group. You have to think that just what is important for this national development and what can be the fair and just means, so that you can think about all the person, all the nation. National development means thinking about these questions. So, national development means thinking about the overall nation and not only for a personal development goals, that is overall development. Not just about one or the person, but about the nation. Now we are going to start how to compare different countries or states. Now how will you compare different countries and states? You might ask if development can mean different things. How come some countries are generally called developed and other undeveloped? Now here we have a question that we know that development means different things. Now how can we distinguish between developed and underdeveloped countries? What is the actual meaning of development so that we can distinguish between developed and underdeveloped countries? Before we come to, let us consider another question. When we compare different things, they could have similarities as well as differences. Now wherever we have differences, we have similarities too. Which aspects do we use to compare them? Now how can you compare one country or one state from the other state? Let us look at the students in the class itself. How do we compare different students? They differ in their height, health, talents and interests. The healthiest student may not be the most studious one. Yeah, now it is a good question that how can we compare the students in a class? Like different students have different height, different talents, different interests. Someone is more studious, someone is less studious, someone has more interest in dance, more interest in singing. So it is not important that the healthiest student means the student who is much healthier can be a studious one. The most intelligent student may not be the friendliest one. So how do we compare students? The criteria we may use depends on the purpose of comparison. We use different criteria to choose a sports team, a debate team, a music team or a team to organize a picnic. Still, if for some purpose we have to choose the criteria for the all-round progress of children in the class, how shall we do it? Usually we take one or more important characteristics of persons and compare them based on these characteristics. So here we have some characteristics, some features. On the basis of those features, we compare one from the other. Of course, there can be differences about what are important characteristics that should form the basis of comparison. Now, here the question is that now you have to decide that what the features can be which can be made the basis of comparison. For this, making compared friendliness and spirit of cooperation, creativity or mass spirit. These can be the basis of comparison. These can be the features on which you can compare a student from the other student. This is true of development too. For comparing countries, their income is considered to be one of the most factors. So, for the comparison of one country, income is more important. Income is the most important criteria on the basis we can differ country from it. So, income is considered the most important criteria on the basis we can compare one country from the other. That what is the income level of one country from the other. Countries with higher income are more developed than others with less income. Means the more income with the country which has more income is compared developed to the less income country. This is based on the understanding that more income means more of all things that human beings need. Means in today's world we can buy anything from the money. So that means that we can satisfy all the human needs with the help of income. Whatever people like and should have, they will be able to get with greater income. If you will have a good income, you will have high income, then you can achieve, you can buy all those needs which you want to satisfy. So greater income itself is considered to be one important goal. So that income is considered the most important goal. Now what is the income of a country? Infinitely. The income of the country is the income of all the residents of the country. Now you can, whenever you see the income of a country means not only the income of a person, it means the income of all the residents. The average income, if we study about the average income of a country, then that means the real income, and on that basis also we can differ the one country from the other one. This gives us the total income of the country. However, comparison between countries' total income is not such an useful measure. Since countries have different populations, comparing total income will not tell us what an average person is likely to earn. So different countries have different sets of population, so we cannot just make this the base. Are people in one country better off than others in a different country? Hence we compare the average income, which is the total income of the country divided by the total population. Now how can we divide total average income? How can we take out? Is the total income of all the residents of the country divided by its population. That will be the total average income, the total income of the residents of the country divided by the population. Hence we can compare the average income is also called per capita income. It is also called as per capita income. Now, in World Development Reports brought out by the World Bank, this criteria is used in classifying countries. Now, in the World Development Reports, it is this criteria is used by the what criteria? On the basis of income. We can classify the countries. Countries with per capita income of US dollar 12,236 per annum and above in 2016 are called rich countries, and those with per capita income of US dollar 1.5 or less are called low income countries. Now here we have divided the countries into two, that how can we say a country low income country and high income country, just on the basis of the total average income. India comes in the category of low middle income countries because its per capita income in 2006 was just US dollar 1,840 per annum. The rich countries, excluding countries of Middle East and certain other small countries, are generally called developed countries. The developed countries, wherever we take income as a base, the developed countries are those developed countries which have average income much more than the other countries. Now we have income and the other criteria. We have seen the income criteria, that on the basis of income we can say that a country is developed or it is underdeveloped. Now we have other criteria too. When we look at individual aspirations and goals, we found that people not only think of better income but also have goals such as security, respect for others, equal treatment, freedom, etc. in mind. Now, I have said that not only income, not only the material thing is important, but security, equality, freedom, all these are too important. Similarly, when we think of a nation or a region, we may, besides average income, think of other equally important attributes. Now, we have to think about not only about the income, but about the security, about the equality, how persons are treated, what is the security and what rights, freedom, security and respect for the others. What would these attributes be? Now how can we consider these attributes? Like first criteria, we took the income. Now how can these attributes be? Now here we have a table that is some comparative data on Haryana, Kerala and Bihar. In this we have the states with the infant mortality rate per 1000 live births, literacy rate and the net attendance ratio. So for this we can say that the per capita income of Haryana, Kerala and Bihar, actually these figures are of per capita net state domestic product at current prices for 2015-2016. These are for figures for given for the year 2015 and 16. Let us ignore what this complicated term exactly means. Roughly we can take it to be the per capita income of the state. Per capita income means the total average income of the state. We find that of the three, Haryana has the highest per capita income and Bihar is at the bottom. Now we have here a table like we have Haryana, Kerala and Bihar. So these are the three states. This is the infant mortality rate. What is the ratio? It's for Haryana it is 36, Kerala 12 and Bihar we have 42. These are the ratios according to the year 2015-2016. And here we have literacy rate, like how much people are literate and how much are illiterate. Here we have 82 for Haryana, Kerala 94 and Bihar we have 62. So infant mortality rate is in highest in Bihar and literary rate is highest in Kerala. But we have to see the overall, the average. So here we have the average of 61, 83 and 43. So here we can see that the net attendance ratio, okay, net attendance ratio is according to the highest is in Kerala, that is 83%. Now we have, this means that on an average a person in Haryana earned rupees 1,62,034 in 1 year, whereas on an average a person in Bihar earned only around rupees 34,168. So if per capita income were to be used as the measure of development, Haryana will be considered the most developed. Now if we see on the basis of income, then if a person in Haryana earns in 1 year 1,62,034 rupees, then it can be a developed state from Bihar, just because the Bihar, the income for 1 year is rupees 34,168. Just because of basis of income, we can see that Haryana is a more developed state than Bihar. So the least developed state of the three. What does this table show? The first column of the table shows that in Kerala, out of 1,000 children born, 12 died before completing 1 year of age. But in Haryana, the proportion of children dying with 1 year of birth was 36, which is 2 times more than that of Kerala. So this is about the table that Haryana infant mortality rate is 36, for Kerala 12 and for Bihar 42. It is per 1,000 lives. Haryana, the proportion of children dying with 1 year of birth was 36, which is 2 times more than that of Kerala. On the other hand, the per capita income of Haryana is more than that of Kerala. Just think of how you are to your parents. Think of how everyone is so happy when a child is born. Now try to think of parents whose children die before they even celebrate their first birthday. Now whenever a child is born, the parents are very happy. Now just think about those parents who cannot celebrate the first birthday of their child, newborn baby. How painful it must be to these parents. Note the year in which data pertains. It is 2015. So we are not talking of old times. Means we are not talking about the ancient times. These are the recently times, 2015-2016. So we are not talking of old times. It is nearly 70 years after independence, when our metro cities are full of high-rise buildings and shopping malls. Now we have when independence, nearly 70 years have been left. So after this, like our India is being fully developed, it has full-rise buildings, it has many shopping malls. Just because, so the rate of the infant mortality rate is very decreasing. So it is not for the ancient times, but it is in today's world. The problem does not end with infant mortality rate. It shows around half of the children aged 14-15 are not attending schools. So there are just not because of the infant mortality rate, but there are many people who are yet illiterate. They are not went for these schools. This means that if we went to school in Bihar, nearly half of your elementary class would be missed. Those you would have been in school are not there. This had happened to you. You would not be able to read what you are reading today. If you have not went to school school, you would not be able to study. You will not be able to read. Now we come to the public facilities. What are the public facilities? So now we have heard that not only income, but all these criteria are also very important. Income, security, freedom, respect for others, these are also important compared to the income. Now we come to the next topic, that is public facilities. How is that the average person in Haryana has more income than the average person in Kerala but lags behind in these crucial areas? Now why is that the average person in Haryana has more income? We have more income just because of more facilities. If you have facilities, you will earn more income. The reason is money in your pocket cannot buy all the goods and services that you may need to live well. Now what type of things, what services you need, you will not have the money to buy them. So income by itself is not a completely adequate indicator of material goods and services that citizens are able to use. For example, normally your money cannot buy you a pollution-free environment. You cannot just buy the environment, okay, or ensure that you get unadulterated medicines unless you can afford to shift to a community that already has all these things. Now, if you are living in villages, you cannot get better hospitals, better schools. Money may also not be able to protect you from infectious disease unless the whole of the community takes preventive steps. Now, money cannot save you from the infectious disease just because if the community takes preventive steps, provides you the sufficient steps, the sufficient medicines, you can be protected. Actually, for many of the important things in life, the best way, also the cheapest way, is to provide these goods and services collectively. Now for this income, we have to provide the goods and services collectively. Collectively means equally to all the people. All the people should get the goods and facilities so that they can make their life much more better. Just think, will it be cheaper to have collective security for the whole locality or for each house to have its own security? What if no one other than you in your village or locality is interested in studying? Would you be able to study? Not unless your parents could afford to send you to some private school elsewhere. Now if we just think that if any village boy or girl wants to go to school, and if your parents do not have the sufficient money to send you to the private schools, so you are actually able to study because many other children also want to study, and because many people believe that the government should open schools and provide other facilities so that all the children have a chance to study. So government should provide open schools and it should give facilities so that the children who cannot study, who cannot afford going to school, can get a chance to study. Even now in many areas, children, particularly girls, are not able to go to high school because the government society has not provided adequate facilities. Now yet also not in the cities but in smaller villages, we all know that girls are not went to school just because government has not given the appropriate facilities which should be given to the girls. Kerala has a low infant mortality rate because it has adequate provision of basic health and educational facilities. Now what is the reason of the low infant mortality rate in Kerala? Just it has adequate provision of basic health and education facilities, because educational facilities and basic health facilities are good in Kerala. Similarly, in some states, the public distribution system functions well. Health and nutritional status of people of such states is certainly likely to be better. Now, similarly, in some other states, we have health and nutritional status of the people is very high. In Kerala, we have adequate provision for basic health and educational facilities, but in other states, health and nutrition status of people is different.